Hello everyone, this is Effie. I hope you're all well. I wish you all a very happy new year. I know Christmas is over, but there's one or two projects I still want to make, and I'm thinking of making boxes, and the next two will be Easter boxes, but I need to make one more ballerina box because someone asked me to make one for her. So I thought I'll do it live on camera. This is a graphic 45 ballerina from Nutcracker Suite, and there's ballet shoes inside. So that's what we'll be doing this evening. This is another Matchbox with a nutcracker inside of it. I'm glad to tell you that I did finish my configuration box, and I'm not happy with the light right at this moment. It seems to be very harsh. Hang on. Is that better or worse? That actually looks worse. Sorry, I should have done this before I went live. I'll quickly show you my box. It's finished. Oh, they're the ballerinas and the snowman. The no man, as my grandson says. Little birdies. Really big. And this Clara. You can see I put the lamp. Got a wire in the middle here. You can see there's a lamp and a little table at the back there. And a curtain, and that's lovely brooches from Janet Nana JL54. So that's it. I put lace around the sides and the top, and then I put the little books in at the back in a pocket. Anyway, I spoke about that in my last streaming, so that's that. So let's start the box. When I first made these matchboxes, I bought matchboxes and I altered them, but I always ended up with also matches that I never knew what to do with, and then I had the raw chipboard that used to look ugly, you know, when you could see it, and especially the back of the matchboxes over here. Some of the bigger matchboxes had openings there, and I never liked it, so I decided to make my own matchboxes, and we'll be making our own. So what I do is I start with the inside of the matchbox, and once that's done I wrap the top around it. Okay, so this is 3/4 of an inch high, 2 inches wide, and 2 3/4 of an inch long. Yeah. Yes. Bye. So, and then I like my edges to be double. So, a scoreboard is good. So I first measure 3/4 of an inch once, and a second time, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we want our width, which is 2 inches. So I'm at 1.5 now. So 2.5 is 1 inch, and 3.5 is my second inch. So that's my width. Then I add 3/4 of an inch again. Wrong. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, plus another 3/4 of an inch. So we come to 5. Okay, so I just work it out as I go. So it's 3/4 of an inch, 1.5, 3.5, 4 3/4, 5. So that's the one side. Then I have to flip it over the other way. So those are that's the height. Then I just turn it over and I start again. So it's 3/4 of an inch, and you just need to come down to over here. That's the last bit of scoring. So it's 1.5. And then we said it was 2 3/4, I think. Yep. So at 1.5 we go 2.5, 3.5. That's 2 3/4. 1, 2, 3. It's a bit complicated, but once you do it once or twice you get it. Then another 3/4 of an inch. So it goes 1, 2, 3. And another 3/4 of an inch. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So you have all your score marks. I promise you they're here. You cut it off on the last ones. Okay, it's difficult for you guys to see. I do understand. I can barely see it. Okay, on these score marks, you make sure that you cut exactly on the score mark, or even a little bit on the inside of the score mark. Like this one, for instance, I have cut the one I've cut a little bit out of the score mark, and then it won't fold over nicely over here. Okay, I think I'll trace lines so that you can just see. That's more or less how the score marks go, okay? Don't know if that makes any difference. Okay, then we fold over, just score everything. Do you understand why this mustn't be longer, otherwise it won't close? So I usually just score all my marks. Just fold them over with your bone folder so your creases are nice and crisp. Okay, so what I like to do, I like to reinforce my long sides. So what I do is the following. There's 2 little corners here, these 2 and these 2, which we take off. Okay, we take off completely, so we can take out the 2 outer corners. Okay, so you take off your 2 outer corners on all 4 sides. Okay, then I cut the flap over here, and what I do is I cut this is a little flap that I'm going to this flap here I'm going to embody into the box, so it can make my box a little bit stronger. So I just cut that little flap, I cut a little slither off it. So I cut the first piece completely straight, and then I just take a tiny slither off the flap. So the main section of the box you cut straight exactly on your score line, and then this one I just take off a tiny little piece, so you have a tiny gap like that. And exactly the same over here. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this because I'll put something on the bottom of this box. I found that the easiest way to do this is to just put tape, and I hate this little pink thing. I hate it with a passion. I've run out of tape for my big ATG. Okay, can you see how I put the little pieces in there? These flaps go in, both of them go in, and then what it does, it just helps to make the side of your matchbox a little bit more sturdy. Make sure that when you bring your corners in, they're completely at 90 degrees so that your matchbox looks neat. See? Okay. And then you just put the flaps, and if this flap isn't in properly, you're not going to be able to fold it over. And you can see this is a little bit skew. So I'm just taking off a slither off this one because it's not allowing me to fold it in. The other thing I like to do is if I'm going to hide my little hanging, in this situation I've got a pearl sticking up from the top. Can you see? So it doesn't matter, but if you don't want that to see, then if you don't want it to be seen, then you put your hole in, you put your adhesion there, and then you won't see it. I want to do another thing which I forgot. I think it's too late. We'll do that now. I also like to put a little bit of acetate in to the insides of my boxes. It just strengthens it a little bit and makes it a little bit stronger. And I forgot to do it on the other side. See, this is just old packaging that I use. This is crepe paper, and I'm not happy with it. It's actually falling apart on me. I'm wanting to open this. There we go. I'm just adding a little bit more acetate in there. I keep all my old packaging, just cut off the little pieces of acetate so you have it. You can use it for very many different things. Okay, we'll put something, we'll use some of the paper in here afterwards. Okay, now for the cover of the box, I first use some cardboard, just some cardstock, and then I cover it with a pattern paper, because then I find that it's a lot more sturdy. So the width of my matchbox is 2 inches. So I cut a strip of 2 inches on my very, very wonky cutting board. It's fallen down 100 times, so it's not cutting straight anymore. It gave me such a hard time with my Christmas journal. Which reminds me, I need to still do a video on my Christmas journal. So we cut it 2 inches. I've got a funny feeling this is wrong. It's not 2 inches, it's 2 3/4 of an inch. Anyway, we've got lots of paper. Okay. Can you see that's the right height? Then we score again. So we first score at 3/4 of an inch, okay? Now the measurements are slightly, it is slightly more. And I just usually eyeball this. I usually just do that because it isn't two inches is too small and 2 1/4 of an inch is too big, so I just eyeball it. You just eyeball it, okay? That's the only advice I can give you. 2 1/8 of an inch is too wide, so I just put it around there, and so it's 3/4 of an inch, but it's a little bit more. My best advice is put your box inside there and just wrap it around. Put it on the scoreboard and you see where it is. You must make it snug enough that it will fold over snugly so it doesn't fall out, but you also don't want it too loose. So the only thing is to just put your box inside here and wrap this cardboard around. You see, okay? And then this I just cut off, or you can use your pencil. Cut on the inside of your pencil mark. So this is your board, your box already. So we close that. Okay, then we cut our pattern paper. Okay. I hope I was on camera. So now we cut our pattern paper at 2 3/4 of an inch. We'll cut the base out of there. And in fact the base we'll cut out of the strip here that's going to be left over now. Once again we score at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, now what I do now is the following. On this side of the box, on this side where I glued the stuff down, I have a double layer of board. So what I do then is I then start measuring my box on the other side, so that when my pattern paper comes down onto this, it will be double on this side too. Once again, I just put it on my scoreboard as it is, and you can see the line wants to be on the hard bit. That's actually where it wants to be scored. So I just move the box slightly until I get to a little groove, and then I fold it. Okay, remember this is going on the single side. You fold it, just check that it's nice and tight. And then I measure again. Okay. And then I measure again. Hi, Crafty Jeanette. Jeanette? Are you Jeanette from Australia? Please tell me it's you. Although it must be about 12 o'clock in Australia. I mean midnight. Okay, I just want to get this precisely correct. Oh, you knew. Hi, nevertheless. Hello, Jeanette. Welcome. I don't want to sound disappointed. How are you? Is it still nice and cold there by you? Okay, what has happened now, I have one fold, this last fold. I have a fold that's very loose. It's 6:30 in the afternoon here. I live in Athens. So it's already dark outside. Our days are starting to get longer, but slowly. So we've also had some very nice days here, but I mean, I know my sister was in New York and it was freezing. And I mean, our price of petrol is so expensive, so we just hope that it stays not so cold. Okay, I'm busy making a matchbox with a ballerina on it, and I'm busy with the Matchbox right now. Okay, done all the measuring. I just want to put this piece on the inside of the Matchbox. Thank you. So what we do now is we just ink up all the edges. It just looks more finished. This is a little piece I want to put in the base of the Matchbox. It will make the base a little bit more sturdy, and it will hide this bright color. And it's a tiny bit too big. Still too big. It's interesting to see that the inside of the box is a little bit smaller than the original measurements we had. I'm not even going to glue this down. It's just going to stay in here. It's going nowhere. Okay. Now I want to ink my cardstock first. And then my pattern paper. I'm going to keep this episode short. I'm only going to keep it an hour because I like to put the videos on YouTube and I don't want them to be too long. And if need be, I'll just connect up again. Okay, now there's mixed opinions about how I like this to be on. I sometimes put it on with glue tape runner, but then you have no window period. If it goes on skew, you've had it, and I always stick things on skew. So I am going to use my Orleans paper glue. Okay, and this way you can at least lift it up if it goes skew or whatever. And then I also feel that the paper almost gets embodied onto the other paper better. It almost becomes one. Make sure you have glue on your edges. You don't want your edges opening, especially in the front here. So make sure you have glue on the edges. Okay, you don't want it to ooze out, so I just usually use my finger a little bit to spread it. Okay. And then I want I want where it joins to be on the side, on the single side. This is where I joined my chipboard. So now I want my pattern paper to join on the other side so that it can reinforce this side too. Okay, I've just got some glue on my finger. I find that dried out wet wipes are also very nice to work with. This is just a wet wipe that's dehydrated. There we go. So there's your matchbox. It took exactly half an hour to make. And what's nice about this is that you can customize it. What I did is I took my ballerina and I saw how wide she was, and I decided on what size I wanted my matchbox. So you don't have to go searching for matchboxes to suit your project, so you can really customize it. And that's also what I did with my configurations box. I first cut out all the images I wanted, and then I decided how big I wanted the little boxes. So there's our matchbox. I found with the bought matchboxes I didn't like how they looked at the back, so I used to stick paper onto them, and then the matchboxes wouldn't close because they would get too fat, so they wouldn't slide in and out. Okay, I've got this ballerina ready. She's the one off Graphic 45 Nutcracker Suite. I've given her a little lace tutu just to add more dimension to her, and I've stickled her so that we don't have to sit and wait for her to dry. And then I wonder if we should start with the inside of the box. Let's do the inside of the box first. We need to pierce our holes, and I've got a tiny tear. You can see I've got a tiny tear over here that I'm not happy about. And I think what we're going to do there is put a little bit of Claudia Helmet Multi-Medium. I'm just going to put in here. I don't like the way that's torn. That tore as I folded it over. That's why it's nice to work with a good quality paper, and crepe paper is usually a very nice quality paper. I don't know why this one isn't, but just there's nothing that a little bit of Claudia Helmet won't fix. We'll just give that a minute to dry and it will be fine. I'll ink over it and you won't see it. Okay, let's measure out our centers. I just use my board, so it's about there, and I just eyeball it. It's important that these holes are in the center of your box, otherwise your box is going to hang skew. Okay, so take a bit of time to find the centers about there. And this is just an old mouse pad. Don't forget I've got the acetate in here, so it's quite hard to go through. Hi Chenda, how are you? Okay, because I've got ballet shoes, I thought I'll add a little bit of tulle on the inside of my box. And I usually do that with hot glue. I just want to put on my glue gun quickly. And I've already I actually started this box last night, and then I thought, why don't I just do it on Ustream? And it was already 12 o'clock last night, so I left it. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put this bit of tulle in here. I've just gathered it up a bit, and I've measured the gathers, the string as long as the box. I just want to tie this off. This tulle hasn't got a lot of body, and I don't know if I like that. I'm going to go and see if I can find another piece of tulle. I don't like that. I'm back. I don't like this. It's very soft. It looks like it's almost been washed. I like this more crinkly tulle actually. Sorry. I'm just going to cut another piece quickly. And I'm just going to gather this up. If you watched me on Facebook, you'll see that I did some molds using some cardboard boxes. I'll show them to you now. Just quickly gathering this up. Oh yes, this is definitely better. I did Creative Jumpstart with Natalie Kalbach and artists, some of her friends, and there was this girl, I forget her name now, Marsha something or other, and she showed us a tip of how you soak pieces of cardboard box, and you just put the whole bit to soak, and you pull it apart, and you take this corrugated bit and you mush it all up. I actually put mine in my blender because I was using these molds, so, and they're very, very fine, so I put it in my blender and I made a mush, and then I added some glue to it, and I made these molds, and I really love them. I love that they look so organic. Look at the little owl. And that one hasn't been trimmed, but I thought that would be quite nice in my art journal as it is. That one isn't so nice because the detail is very, very fine. How cool is that? Really cute. So that's what I did yesterday. I love actually playing around and experimenting. So what I'm doing now is just putting down a tiny little bit of hot glue here, and I'm just going to put the tulle in without really getting hysterical about it. Just something so that the ballet shoes can have somewhere to rest on, so that there's interest when you open the box. Okay. Oopsie. I'm really not happy with the glare I have going on here. That looks better. Okay. Now, I have inked up this ribbon a little bit with Victorian Velvet, just a tiny bit, because the pink isn't a true pink, it's almost like a salmon pink. And then what I do to get the ribbon through is I use a bit of gut, because you can see the ribbon is double, and there's no way you'll get this ribbon through this hole very easily. So I use it as a little needle. I've made a loop over here. Can you see? A little loop with a gut. And I'm going to take my ribbon, thread it through here. Alright. Just fold it over. And then pull it through here. Very, very carefully. And I actually think it might be better to just make a circle with the crocodile so we don't tear the box. We'll make a small circle so that we have a proper little designated hole for the ribbon to come through. Otherwise it might tear the box, it might rip it, okay, because the ribbon is quite thick. I saw another girl on YouTube once that used to use little swivel hooks that one uses for fishing for our hooks. And I've used that on other Matchboxes in the past. Where did I put... Oh no, this is before I found that out. This one I've just used a little bit of wire on the top and the bottom. So the little fishing swivel hooks are really great. We'll give it quite a loop. And then all we do at the bottom here is we give it a knot. Okay, we have a loop, and then we want this because this is what we're going to add the ballet shoes onto that, onto this little piece here. But I'm not going to put the ballet shoes in yet. I still want to just do the hardware at the bottom here. What I've used for the bottom, the dangle on this box, is a very cheap necklace that I once found. So I want this big pearl on the end of it, so we'll just open that and do a little bit of altering. So I'm actually going to take this apart over here, and shouldn't have done that. It's going to go into here. I'm not very good with the jewelry making aspect of stuff. There we go. Okay. Then I want to take this off here. And what have I done here? I want this little goodie to hold it, so I'm going to use the other pearl on the inside. I actually can't remember how I did this the last time. We'll figure it out though. So I've got the one clip. I've just opened the one, can you see? And I'm going to put it through the hole. Right down through the hole. And on this loop is going to go the rest of the bling. On there. Okay. You just have to make sure that it closes, otherwise it will fall off. 3. Okay. And then we'll add some goodies to that now. Putting my cardigan again because it's getting cold. Okay, so I'm just putting on a little bit of hot glue onto this knot, and I'm going to balance the ballet shoes on that. Can you see? And then the little tip of the shoe can just rest on the little pearl over there. Okay, so that's the inside of our box almost done. I want a little bit of eyelash trim. Where did I put it? A little bit fuzzy. And then what we can do at the bottom here is add a little bit of bling right at the bottom. Just a minute. Find some bling. I want tiny little pink bling. Okay, so this is just going to take me a moment to find. I found a fuchsia, but I want a baby pink. Just bear with me, please. Here. Let me just show you what happened here. Pearls would have been nice, but I'm using little rhinestones. Oopsie, 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 oopsie. And these were just plain white rhinestones, and you can see over there I've just alcohol inked them. And those are hearts. I don't want hearts. We'll just use those over there. This is when you need a Copic marker. I'm afraid that pink is going to be completely hopeless. My alcohol inks are almost very few I have. There. I'm just going to dry it with a heat gun quickly. Okay, and then where we're going to put that is here. Can you see I've still got this loop? I should have perhaps taken this off and put like you know, a pin that hasn't got a loop, but what we're going to do is the following. We could put it together with glossy accents, but I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm going to put it on with hot glue. I need to work quite fast. So what I've done is I've glued the little bling onto that loop. Can you see? I'm pulling off all of the glue because the acrylic glue, this glue stick is quite thick, hey? But the advantage is that it really glues fast. And so I've done the one with that, and I have it exactly where I want it, and now I'll put the other one on with glossy accents. And you know, if you don't like, now there was actually a bit of glue sticking out there, and what I could have done is I could have just heated it up with my heat gun and then stuck the other one on the back. But what I'm going to do here now is just put a bit of glossy accents on there and leave. This is my old bottle. Let's just get a new one. And just add a tiny bit of glossy accents there. I can't believe that this is actually blocked. It shouldn't be blocked. This is a brand new bottle of glossy accents, and this nozzle is already funny. It's blocked, guys. Okay. Okay, guys. Ridiculousness. Hopefully that will work. Okay. Hallelujah. These gems never seem to have enough glue on them. So now we have like a little ball, a gem ball around here. It's blue, pink and pink on either side of that loop. So I'm just going to put this up here to dry, and we're going to continue with the rest of the box. Okay. Let's just make some space quickly. Bye. Keep well. Okay. Let's see how we're going to embellish our box. What I want to put around this is some, I was thinking some of this around the top here, and then I was thinking of this trim around the bottom. I know the top is like blingy and the bottom is like pearl, or else we'll maybe just do this and that. Maybe that's better. Okay, so just a bit of hot glue. And it's a good idea to start your joins underneath the ballerina. So I know my ballerina is going to be over here, so I'm going to start behind her head, so to speak, behind her back. Okay, and I like doing small sections at a time because it's very cold and this hot glue gets cold quickly and then it doesn't stick. So I just do small bits at a time. Like that. There we go. And then I think we'll put the lace and then the little bit of, I took this out too and I was thinking maybe we can use some of this as well. I'm thinking that might be quite nice. Just for an extra layer. Yep. So I'm trying to see if this has a right and a wrong side to it. Not really. Can you see it's already unraveling? And I think I want it to hang down a bit. We'll put it there. And we'll go anti-clockwise this time because it looks like that's the way it wants to go. Gone a bit skew there. Okay, I hope I haven't pulled it too tight. We'll see now. If I've pulled it too tight, then this won't go in. No, we're still good. Okay, that's cool. Okay, and then we'll put the lace on. Laces have a good and a bad side. I'm sure you all know that. Where did my ballerina go? Here she is. I want to see where her leg is going to be. Just there. I want this lace hanging off here slightly as well. Okay, almost done. I'm going to add a little bit of tulle on the outside of the box too. As soon as we stick this on, we'll do that. Perfect. Okay. We got glue strings all over the place. And then I want this on top. Okay, I'm going to quickly stop the recording here, and then part 2 will continue in 2 minutes, okay?